So that's 10:30.
Oh my gosh, obviously.
Business always goes. So that it was cool because
Keela says she's not coming. I
the interviews were done just
don't know if you were waiting on her or not.
Flash. Yeah. Fascinating.
Good morning, everyone. It is here right at 10:06 a.m. here on Wednesday, December 14th for meeting of the Industrial Development Board. It appears we do have a quorum, so we will go ahead and call the meeting to order. Next item on the agenda is consideration of the November 16th, 2022 minutes. I will go ahead and give everyone a quick minute to review those. And then if there's any comments or questions, we'll take those.
I move to accept the minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve, a proper second. Any discussion regarding the November 16th, 2022 minutes? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, motion carried to approve consideration the November 16th, 2022 minutes. Moving on to item number 3, public comment period. Is there anyone here from the public? Due to this being a public hearing also for the economic impact plan, first, if there's anyone wishing to speak just on any general comments, let's do those first. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? All right. Anyone from the public wishing to speak specifically on the Madison Station Economic Impact Plan for the public hearing? All right. As there does not seem like there's anyone wishing to speak, we will move on to item number 4. Items for consideration, part 2 of discussion of the Madison Station Economic Impact Plan. Obviously, this came before us back in October, and as I shared with this board just through our discussions on some of these items that we don't necessarily do all the time, want to do this in a way where this board feels like they have all the information necessary and needed to make decisions, as these decisions certainly have long-term impacts. Obviously, at the October meeting, we spent most of the time in that meeting going through the project overall, going through the design, and spent a lot of time on that. Certainly want to update, just give a quick overview on that today, but certainly today, the purpose of today is really to get more in detail on the actual TIF and the economic impact plan itself. So why don't we do this just to start off? Councilmember Reese, not that you have to give us as much detail as you did before. Certainly we thank you for coming today. But why don't you just give us a quick overview on the project again, how it came together, the feedback that you've received from the community, and then maybe we can quickly kind of go through the design, and then spend the duration of the time really getting into the details of the economic impact plan.
Fantastic. Thank you everybody for coming out on this rainy morning. I appreciate the extra effort that you took over the last few weeks to review this, and we can get very emotional about change. I'm in the adaptive change space. This is also a technical change, and I value your input to make sure that we've got this right down to the decimal point. I come to you in between last time we talked and now having presented again another community feedback opportunity at the Madison Rivergate Area Chamber of Commerce luncheon, where we went over the proposal again. They sent, I think, at least half a dozen or so emails that came in from chamber members to both the mayor's office and directly to LaTanya in support. We continue to have discussions on this at every community meeting, and folks are just quite frankly very excited about it. we were able to make sure that we confirm that the commitment to affordable and workforce housing is in place. Also be able to affirm that the current tenants are not going anywhere anytime soon, and whenever the current buildings are taken down for replacement, that they'll have the opportunity to stay. And so there's a very significant cultural impact, particularly with Roots Beauty Salon and with the Garden Fresh Market, and the Madisonians want to make sure that they have every opportunity to stay there and be part of our community well past this 10-year project. So that's been taken care of, very confirmed. If you haven't yet, the Madison Station Boulevard is thriving. There's a hashtag Walk the Boulevard this winter, so make sure and enjoy that. Being able to explain to the community that this is an extension of the boulevard, that even in phase one, the opportunity to be able for this infrastructure improvement to continue that beautification has been very helpful for folks to realize what it's going to be looking like. Chair, I understand that Tequila Johnson, I know, indicated that she had a conflict of interest today, but I believe she communicated to you her support of the plan. I want to make sure and give you the opportunity to indicate that. And I know that the mayor's office has given LaTanya an opportunity to speak on behalf of the mayor as well. So I'd like to yield my time for that as well.
Okay, we'll certainly come back to that, certainly so. Appreciate it. I guess, and maybe very quickly, just in case some of the board members specifically have questions for you, I want to give the board members an opportunity, because obviously from today and certainly when you came and spoke to us back in October, this is a project you said you've been working on in the community for many years now, very passionate about it.
That's right. I actually was the applicant to rezone the property in late 17, 18, and worked with Hawkins Partners and the then owner for a lot of shredding, a lot of community feedback. After that, both working in my first term with your fellow Anthony Davis as well as Bill Pridemore, and then in this term with Tanya Hancock and Emily Benedict on the design overlay along Gallatin Pike. Another round of a lot of community feedback. What do we want the corridor to look like? Informed this owner with the opportunity to be able to work with talented folks, both from Hunter G and with Hawkins Partners, to carry that conversation forward into a reality. And what you're seeing in front of you today represents that. There's been, I guess now, 5 years of work on this project.
Thank you for that. One question for me, I'll give board members an opportunity to ask you questions specifically, just kind of overall on the project and process and everything. Certainly, just because this board has been, certainly over the last couple of years, even though it's not necessarily our major focus per se, this board is certainly been very intentional about trying to do more affordable workforce housing projects. As you know, back in August, we did a meeting solely devoted to affordable workforce housing. So I think that shows kind of the board, how much this board is interested in working on that. Talk to us about that piece of the development again, because I think in the packet it's 140 affordable.
Up to 170. So
170.
About 10% of whatever is built. If you know me at all, you know that affordable housing is a passion of mine, and it is for the community as well, particularly in phase one, seeing that it's right next to 50 Forward and near walkable communities. We wanted to make sure that we're ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to benefit from this. The number of units in working with Angie Hubbard and the folks trying to decide whether or not depth versus width was preferred by the administration and by the community at large, and it was determined that the depth, or getting down to 60% for the units, was paramount to the width, or doing more units at 80%. And so what you're seeing in the commitment on this particular project is an answer to that question that was researched quite completely. Could and would this developer be willing to do more? Yes, but in exchange for opportunities that we have in place for the greenways, the plaza, the transit. And it was clear to me in the years of Sherrod and work with the community that having a walkable community with public green spaces was just as important to them on this parcel as the affordable housing element. So being able to have both was extremely important. It's also good to note that there's been a lot of work within the 5-mile shed of this for intentional mixed income community developments over by Nosy College of Art, at the development that will happen at the Old Memorial Hospital along Gallatin and near that area up on Williams. There's just been a lot of new housing at a number of different rates. And so what you're not seeing is condos on Gallatin Pike. So if we're going to have a diverse type of housing, this is one way to make sure that that happens. So I believe that the call for affordable housing, the call for public spaces, the call for walkable, bikeable communities, so very close to an important transit corridor. And I'll remind you guys that the transit stop in front of the Madison Library at this area is the most frequented transit stop in the entire Davidson County area, other than across the street here at downtown. So more people get on and off the bus in Nashville at this location than anywhere else. And so the hunger for more transit and having the opportunity to create infrastructure for Transit Plaza on behalf of WeGo is part of this project as well. So it's all extremely exciting. It's a very unique parcel. There's no other opportunity like this really in the county as it exists right now.
I have a question.
Yeah, kind of, if I would just ask geared towards the council member.
Yes.
Okay.
In looking, as you just mentioned, on the number of people riding the transit and this overall project, let's just keep in mind our nonprofits that are growing and have satellite offices there.
Yes.
I know you mentioned 54. I don't know the library's there, but the services. So if there's services that can maybe rent space, because I know within the East Bay project or even the Global Mall, they're looking at making sure nonprofits are serving the community as well. So,
yeah, there's a very vibrant nonprofit community, particularly in this area with Centerstone, with the Christian Cooperative. Right across the street, of course, is Jay Voorhees' Methodist Church, City Road Chapel, where they rent to a number of different metro entities. And so there's no reason that they won't thrive in this environment. And of course, as rental opportunities become available, there's always.
I mean, it has to be rental, has to be.
Exactly.
But I can see that they're playing a larger role in doing satellite offices to serve the communities versus the community going to them. So.
Well, and as a board member of the Arts and Business Council, I'm always mindful of finding an incubation center for arts as well. And so we'll make sure and continue to serve this community as it exists. It's a thriving creative class, and so I'm hoping that new tenants will continue to amplify that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Councilmember Van Rees?
Yes. First of all, I want to commend you on your due diligence, and 5 years, that's a long time.
Yes,
so
sir.
I understand that process of meeting with the community and getting the approval, so I'm glad you actually took those steps, of course, council lady, and making sure the community is all for the project. So I can commend you on that and work with the developer. I have one question, and this may be for the developer, I'm not sure, and this is dealing with the affordable housing, the units.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. That's kind of my forte. I'm executive director of a nonprofit that specializes in affordable housing. So one of the issues we have had is retaining units. Typically they come with restricted covenants of, with THGA in the past it was 5 years, and it was up, MHA was 20, now Barnes is up to 30, depending on what types of grants you're using on the project. Has the developer stated what the years ago on restricted covenants, or are there going to be any restricted covenants put in place? Or
It's an excellent question, and I'll let the colleagues respond to it, but it's my understanding that the developer partner for that has not yet been selected.
Okay.
And so it would be more than likely what they're able to produce, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if there's grants involved, they're going to come with their own restricted covenants anyway. So,
Correct.
But yeah, I commend you for putting the units in there. I love to see projects that think about our community, especially ones that 80% or below, because they're having a hard time right now. So I really commend on that, putting 10% of units aside for that. So thanks.
And you really, if I remember, you kind of went into greater detail on this in October, but you spent a lot of time working with Angie Hubbard as well on the affordable housing piece and figuring out, the best way to tackle that.
That's right. I'm a big believer on asking the experts, right? And so getting with her to make the decision as to how many and how deep was a vital part of the process. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for that. Any other questions for Councilmember Van Rees? All right. So maybe now if we'll have just kind of, not necessarily in as great a detail as last time, but just to kind of refresh everyone, if maybe talk about the design. I just showed the board members some current pictures of the shopping center, just to get a feel. Just to me, I think seeing it, just seeing what, it makes a difference to see what it is, and you see, and then you compare it to this. It's very, very transformative, and certainly, obviously, the current shopping center, just like shopping centers built like that, there's tons of parking spaces. So obviously this, you're doing something totally different to really maximize the acreage, it looks like. But yes, if you want to kind of talk to us high level again about the design, just a refresher for folks, that would be great.
Sure, thanks, Chair Hodge. My name's Hunter G. I'm architect principal at Smith G Studios. We're architects, planners, interior designers. I did bring one copy of the package that I left with you all last time, so if anybody did not get this, you're welcome to have that or pass it around to review, but that's the full presentation that we gave at the October meeting. Everyone is probably familiar with the location of the site, but it really is right in the heart of Madison. In fact, longtime Madisonians talk about how this particular site in the 1950s and 60s was the heart of Madison. It really served as sort of the town center with the new shopping center. Also, this site is very close to the Cumberland River, as well as the 612 Due West site, the old Memorial Hospital, which is under redevelopment. We've looked at opportunities on how this investment could be leveraged to continue to create the connectivity within this community. The Parks Department and the Greenways Commission has identified this area as sort of a deficit area in terms of community parks. And so we see a real opportunity with approximately almost half of the acreage of the 32 acres being dedicated to parks, open space, public infrastructure in the plan. Nancy mentioned that there's no other site like this in Nashville. What she means by that is no site of this scale that's already zoned for this type of mixed use, mixed income development. And so it is a huge opportunity for Madison. So the vision is really an extension of the investment that's already been made and is being made along Madison Station Boulevard with the new roundabout here next to 50 Forward. If you all are familiar with the area, you know that Timberhawk Hall, formerly known as the Roots Barn, new music venue is out there, Amqui Station, which is a real gem for this community, a historic landmark, and really extending what the community has seen as this extraordinarily valuable investment that Metro has made in a complete street, meaning it is walkable, bikeable, that the street's designed to not move cars quickly, but to move cars efficiently. So it's very pedestrian friendly. To basically extend that design all the way through to Gallatin Pike, and as well as along the way create public spaces, open spaces of different scales, and including a greenway which can ultimately, along the creek bed here, that can ultimately be connected to other locations in Madison. So I think it was mentioned earlier, approximately 1,700 units of residential, 1.7, is that right, million square feet-ish of commercial development, so that will include some of the things that we heard from the community that's a real need with shopping, restaurants, retail, as well as office space, which we know this administration has been really focused on finding opportunities like the old Hickory Hollow Mall and other places in the suburban areas of Davidson County for corporate relocations, for opportunities for jobs, and to work in your community where you live. So we have lots of renderings of the different sort of special places within. This is actually at the end of Madison Station Boulevard, looking into the site. So again, extending that complete street with bike lanes, wide sidewalks, and we anticipate the first phase of development being right here to really create that gateway from the roundabout and into the site. So what you're seeing here is an idea, vision. It hasn't been designed architecturally fully, but an idea for what that first phase might begin to look like. Did I leave anything out?
Looks great.
Thank you.
So, any questions specifically related to the design here? Don't start here to my right.
No question, but it looks great. Awesome. What a change. I saw the original show me, and I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, you may notice up in the top left-hand corner of each of these renderings is the current view.
Yeah, I'm definitely for improvement. That looks awesome. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, no questions. I agree. It looks great.
Go here to my left. Vice Chair. What are you doing with your parking? Obviously, I'm assuming you're putting a pretty huge above-ground parking garage to the rear.
Yes, there will be multiple parking garages throughout the development. Some of the earlier phases, especially with affordable housing, may be surface park, but that'll all be tucked behind the buildings and out of sight from the public realm, from the streets. But parking is expensive. Structured parking especially is expensive, so it'll be a matter of, as we go through and really look at how the affordable housing component impacts the viability of each phase, how we can best park that. But there will certainly be plenty of parking, and most of the parking in the garages, of course, will be open to the public to serve the retail and restaurants.
And then, I guess, last item, talk about the green space. I know you went into greater detail in October, but I know you said in doing the design that was an important part of this is, certainly, oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
We're green and
This is the green space person.
That's right. Will you introduce yourself?
Yeah,
for us,
certainly.
please?
Kim Hawkins, Hawkins Partners Landscape Architect. Sorry, coming from another appointment. One of the things that I think is so important about the green space, and Hunter mentioned it, but we did the Parks and Greenways Master Plan in 2017 and also the Walk and Bike Master Plan in 2017. And at that time, that was planning for our overall county over the next 20 years. And in that process, there were greenway master plans and level of service identified for greenways. This is one of the areas where we show the greenway here was in that master plan in 2017 before we began on this. And we began on this with Councilperson Van Rees at the end of 2017, early 18. So this was already in the plan. So this is starting to realize that vision of greenways. From a park standpoint, separate from greenways, this area of Madison, and actually much larger, the entire region around Madison has all been identified as a very low level of service, both for greenways and for parks. So the idea of being able to come in and really build build on that for this community in a place that has not had it. They are so close to the river, but they have not been able to really fully participate in what so many other regions of the county have. And so what we've provided here is actually a variety of different spaces, and I'll just kind of note those. And I think that's really important too, because this is a place for people to live and work. So it certainly the greenway, and part of what you see here where the greenway is, it's the lower area of the site. This is completely neglected right now. Part of what we haven't talked about is stormwater and low impact development. Green space is a big part of that, but our street system is as well. Madison Station Boulevard is a green street in addition to providing walking and bikeable opportunities that continues through the site. So the greenway here that also recognizes those opportunities and that broader vision of how greenways can then be continued through the rest of the community that Hunter mentioned. And then throughout, there is a series of a fairly urban plaza, as well as a lot of these smaller courts that are distributed in various ways to provide that connectivity within and to really be able to bring in some of that sustainability, which is an important part of a plan on a site where right now, as you all have seen, there's maybe 1,000 square feet of pervious area on the whole thing. So what this does for the overall watershed in terms of cleaning it and actually providing back to the community through those efforts, I think goes hand in hand.
Helping the stormwater system for sure.
A huge benefit to stormwater to be able to allow the natural hydrology of the site to actually be mimicked with these other methods of additional open space and certainly incorporating all of the requirements of Metro Water Services. So just it's a huge benefit. I don't know if I answered the question.
Can I jump in and just follow up on that? I appreciate that this is getting green space and parks, because as we knew in that 2017 plan, the only way we were going to meet the needs of people was to engage private developers to help with that. And this moves that ball forward more than we've been able to do in most places.
And what I didn't say that I should say, and I really appreciate you mentioning that, because we are strong believers in the relationship of private development into open space. And so, yes, these places that are being provided are being designed, planned, developed, implemented by the private developer for the community's public access. And I appreciate the opportunity to add that.
Yep. Thank you, Vice Chair. Any other questions or comments related to the design? All right. Do you want to introduce yourself? You're part of the development team. Any comments you want to make about the project that you'd like to share with the board?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Tyler Cobble. I'm with Hamilton Development. I'm the local partner here in town. I'm a native Nashvilleian, and if you go back through our track record, everything that we have done has been very community-focused and community-oriented, mostly in East Nashville. And as East Nashville grows, Madison was kind of our next, where we started looking again. And so, we see just a huge opportunity here to kind of bring Madison to that vision that Councilmember Van Rees and many other council members in Madison have had for decades. Because of the proximity to town, the affordability that the area currently has. And so, we're just really excited to have the team on board that we have to help bring this vision together for the community.
Thank you.
Chair, if I can add to that.
Sure. Thank you.
Speaking on behalf of Madison, I moved up there in 1990. And the one thing that will get kind of the hair on the back of the neck up for a Madisonian is to talk about East Nashville. Anthony knows this. Madison needs its own place keeping. We talk a lot about place making, and this obviously is making a beautiful place. The emotional attachment to this parcel is about place keeping, and the fact that it is being named after the original Madison station from Madison Stratford, the original township before it became part of the county of Madison was first formed as a post office called Madison Station. So this is absolutely about making sure that people know that they're in a place called Madison.
And it's the demographics are very much changing in that area as well.
They're changing, but at the same time, they've always been there. I think that there's been a bit of a misconception that I dealt with when first running for office, that Madison is somehow Goodlettsville. It's not. Now I'm going to get in trouble from saying that.
Both sides.
It's okay. It's all good. Exactly. It's like we're our own people. But if I believe it was probably the 2010 census that there were 40,000 people that live in the 37115 zip code. If it were its own city, it'd be the 14th largest in the state. And yet it has an identity issue that needs to have a moment. And I just returned from Kansas City for the National League of Cities Conference, and there was an extreme importance placed on the importance of signage, the importance of placekeeping, and in talking to and being mentored by Kim Hawkins, the idea of placekeeping is so important in this particular parcel. And I cannot speak more highly about this particular development team that Tyler brought to the community and their commitment to the area. They also are new owners of Due West Plaza, and so they're committed to Gallatin Pike. And this, all development sort of spurs other development. You're seeing all kinds of things, but with the design overlay in place, with the railroad protecting the suburban neighborhoods, you have a very unique opportunity. So.
Thank you for sharing that. Any questions here to my right for the developer?
Yes, I may be jumping ahead of myself, but I didn't see a timeline. Provided you get the approvals, I understand working with Metro Water. I know how long it takes to get those permits. I'm going through that right now. I've been on project 3 years, and I understand. So, provided.
It's a lot of smack talk today. It's almost Christmas, but
I know. So I definitely
was fired up today.
Timeline-wise, what do you think, permit-wise, getting the ground ready? Where do you foresee that?
Yeah, we'd like to have something significant happening in 23.
Okay.
For phase one.
Okay.
Now, we have well over 30 tenants on site. Some leases run as long as 10 plus years right now.
Okay.
So we'll be working with those tenants, working around them to phase out the project.
Okay. Yeah, I know you had, 7 phases or?
We have 3 major phases, but we have some sub-phases in there as well. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Great. Interesting project.
And if I can add, one of the things that really excited me about the way that the project was put together on the TIF request was the rolling TIF, right? So as I understand, you can correct me if I misunderstood, but as I understand it, they're going to be coming back to you a lot, right? So this discussion and hopeful approval gets it to the council, and we feel very positive with the council. Then they have to go back and figure out that first phase, get it financed, and then come to you, get that approved, and then build the darn thing, right? Yeah. And then come back to you and say, okay, this is what is applicable, and they get the reimbursement. That reimbursement is going to go straight back into the next phase.
Right.
So it allows Madison to continue to reinvest in itself. One of the numbers that I was fascinated by, that right now, that entire parcel is generating $188,000 in property taxes. There's nowhere but up on that win-win situation. So, and that's even after I got it in the USD. For 50 years it was in the GSD and even less. So, and so it's the numbers are easy. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Any other questions here to my right for the developer? Vice Chair? Question. So, question specifically because you're the developer. So obviously, some of us that have been on the board for several years have been involved with a couple of TIF deals, but obviously TIF is not something that has been done a lot in Nashville. Obviously, Bellevue Mall redevelopment was one, and for those that are familiar with Bellevue, that was again just big box mall that tenants started to leave and it was dead. Then it was down to Sears, and Sears made it for a little bit on their own, and then it was done. And so, you look at Bellevue Mall today, and amazing Pred's facility, the movie theater, everything. I mean, it's every time I go, it's booming. I had an opportunity to reached out when this came up. I reached out to the developer for the Bellevue Mall, and we just had a conversation about why, without TIFs, that would not have been possible. So in this case, certainly the project looks great. You're adding affordable housing, making a place for people to live, work, play. It's on Gallatin Road, so we talk about transit here and allowing people to get to and from work. It's right there on a major corridor. So a lot of positives with the overall project, but why does it meet the metric where it meets the metric that TIF and an economic plan should be applied to this? The other side of this would say, well, Madison's growing. I mean, it's natural due to the location development that as a developer, someone's going to redevelop that location anyway. So why does it meet the test in your book or meet that standard, for an economic impact plan?
Can I answer that question?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm
Okay. Me on that one. All right. I'm Jim Murphy from Bradley, and I represent the developer. Nigel, I think the reason, there's a couple of things, and some of you have kind of hinted at it a little bit in some of your questions and comments, but I want to
Sure.
kind of reinforce that. One, without the assistance from the TIF, the affordable piece wouldn't be possible. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we have such a struggle doing affordable housing in Nashville is the cost to develop is so high that it makes doing a development without some kind of assistance almost impossible. And so that's a big part of it. But also what the vice chair mentioned, adding all these park amenities and things like that, those have costs to them. And so part of what this plan is looking at is we want to make this what Nancy and the community have said they want, and to do that, there's more costs than we can afford to do with just a standard market rate project. And so that's why we're here for that. And I think that's one of the things you've got to look at when you're doing these projects is this just a standard project, or are you doing more for the community? What are you doing for the community? And we think we've passed that test of what are we doing more for the community in providing the parks and green space and providing the affordability piece. The other problem with this site, and I think you're passing the pictures around was really helpful, is there's a pretty significant cost taking down what's there now. I mean, we're not developing a site that's really ready for development. We've got to tear down what's there now and start over. And so all of those are baked into what we're asking for in the TIF to be reimbursed for. Public infrastructure, the parks, the greenways, the roads, and then the demolition and site preparation costs so that we can do the site up. And those are the things we're looking for here. That supports the affordable housing. That supports the mixed-use project. That makes this green open space project doable, which would be very difficult, if not impossible, to do if we were just doing it purely at a market rate. So that's why we're here, and we think this project warrants y'all doing a TIF project, a TIF incentive, because of the things that it brings that are not typical for your typical development.
Thank you for that. I know board members have some questions.
Actually, if I could add.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Thank you.
I mean, one thing to point out, too, with the current zoning, we can do well over 3, maybe even 4 million square feet on the site. And we're, as Hunter mentioned, we're not even close to that. And that's
because you're doing all the green.
That's because we want to have the green space. And, as a private developer, I don't don't know a single private developer that wouldn't be doing affordable housing if it made sense.
Sure.
Because, but it's really tough, because we have to pay market rate for land, we have to pay market rate for development, market rate for construction, and then we're supposed to take a discount on the rents, and unfortunately, we have to answer to equity, right? And
Tough to make the numbers work.
Exactly. You can't make the numbers work most of the time, and so it's critical for us to have a partnership with Metro to make that happen so that we can keep our communities great.
Yep, and since we're just on this topic, just to clarify, should this, and again, for everyone here, just a reminder, today, if this board chooses to do so, first step one would be approving the economic impact plan.
Right.
Next, it would then still have to go before the Metro Council for approval next. And then if it gets through that process, then you all will be coming back to us probably in a couple years, I guess, and
Can I
bonds.
go through a little bit of that?
Sure, let's do that.
For the whole board, and
Yeah, thank you.
maybe give you a little bit of a big picture and then kind of some details on that, because I've got some things I think would be helpful about that, because there will be multiple times that we'll be back to see you on this. This is just the first step, as you mentioned, to get this plan approved, and then it goes back to the council. We also, because we're going for 30 years, are going to have it approved by the state, and so we'll have to do that as well, and that's going to happen that typically happens after the council approval process.
And let's stay on that. Do you typically, so with TIFs, if it's 20, the typical is 25 years, correct?
20 or less for a IDB TIF, you can do that without state approval.
Okay, so anything above 20 requires state approval.
That's right. And then the fact that we're doing demo and site prep is not public infrastructure. And under the TIF Uniformity Act, if we're going to do anything other than public infrastructure, we also have to get state approval. So we have to get state approval for a longer term, and we also have to get approval for using it for something that's not public infrastructure. But the state typically looks at what are you using this for, and this is the kind of site that we feel like we're pretty comfortable we can get state approval for this. That this is not a situation where we're trying to get an extended term and use the things for building the buildings. It's not like we're using it to actually build the buildings. We're just getting the site to the position where it's ready to be developed. That's the kind of thing that they tend to be more supportive of.
Yep. So I know there'll be some, before we get into details, I know it's going to lead to questions, can you speak to timelines, kind of overview? So step one.
Step one obviously is approving here. Step two is approval at the council, which we think might be next week. And then step three would be, I'm going to let Councilmember Van Rees talk about that. Step three would then be sending it to the state, and the state has 30 days to either approve it or disapprove it. If they don't act in a 30-day period, it's deemed approved. But I've never had one where they didn't, within 30 days, say yes or no.
Is it a resolution or something like that, Jim, or is it?
For the state?
Yeah.
No, we just send a letter to the Commissioner of Economic and Community Development and a letter to the Comptroller.
Okay.
They both have to approve it. And
So they could be out of session.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't require legislature. It's just the Comptroller and the Commissioner of Economic and Community Development.
Good question. Don't give them ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So that, if I'm listening to the timeline correctly, and again, step one depends on today, but hypothetically, if this board felt comfortable approving this, sounds like we're looking at end of January, probably, maybe early February with the state piece.
There's another step that we also have to take after we go through those three steps, here, today, council, and the state.
Yep.
And that is, we will bring to you a project agreement. It'll address some of the issues that you brought up, like how long the affordability will be in place. What it will set forth the actual commitments on what we're going to build and when, and also discuss when we will come to you in the future for approval of the TIF loans that will be used to reimburse the developer for the costs that they have occurred. And we're doing that as Nancy pointed out, in 3 phases, so that we'll come to you actually when we finished phase 1.
So we know we can see it. It's real. Work has been done.
It's not going to be, it's not going to be, oh, give it to us and we'll build it. It was coming into you and
I keep driving by there and I'm like, Tyler, what's up? Nothing's happening. It's not even any equipment out there.
On this one, you won't put up anybody until each phase is complete.
Sure.
And so that way, it really is a performance-based incentive in that we don't get anything until we've performed on each phase. And so that's how we've structured the deal to give you assurance, and that'll all be addressed in this project agreement. So Nigel, I think we'll have the project agreement in January or February, probably February. Just we want to make sure we got the state approval in hand and all those things, and get those. Make sure Macy is comfortable with the project agreement.
I'm comfortable with it.
But at the end of the day, we'll bring it to you and then have that approved, and that will then be the next step. Then the next step after that would be we build the project and come to you and say, okay, we've completed phase 1. Here's our cost. Here's our TIF loan that we need to do to reimburse us. Quinn asked a question. Quinn asked a question.
I was going to say
email the other day about the numbers, and so what we've done, and because we don't, the one variable in this thing is how quickly the incremental tax will be sufficient to pay the loans off. And so what we've done is we've authorized the TIF loan to be up to the amount of 75% of the increment for a 30-year period. But if we get paid off quicker, so if we get paid off for the reimbursement for phase 1 infrastructure improvements, including interest, quicker than 30 years, there will be significant savings, significant. The amount of incentive we receive will be reduced, and the taxes will flow to Metro
faster, higher, and faster.
And so just to clarify for the record, that means that it's on Metro to make sure it's capturing the full taxable value as quickly as possible to reduce that number.
That's right, and that's always a challenge in these deals is to really know exactly what.
Because you don't know exactly.
Right, you don't know exactly what the tax. I'll give you an example. I helped MDHA on some projects in 2007 and 2008, and they did a TIF deal, and it was originally going to be done as multifamily, and the crash happened, and they couldn't do it at multifamily. They had to do them as condos, and as a result of that, the condo assessment rate is 25%. The multifamily assessment rate is 40%. And so all of a sudden, all the tax numbers were wrong. The city got much less taxes from that project than they anticipated. And so MDHA kept getting letters from the bank saying, well, we didn't get enough money to pay our loan this year. And we said, yeah, that's right. There's not enough taxes. And that's the way these deals work. These are the only recourse is to the amount of the increment. And so we've tried to build in some cushion in case the increment doesn't develop as quickly as we think it would. But we really do think that the amount is going to be, the total amount of the incentive will be much less if the values grow at the rate we really think they should. And we've done a pretty good job, I think, of evaluating valuation. I mean, they've looked at many comparable projects to come up with that valuation. But
sometimes that gets picked up and sometimes it does not.
Yeah, that's right.
And also on that, to be clear though, when it comes to, the key is it's tax increment financing.
You want me to talk a little bit about the structure and give you a little bit of
let's do that, because I think part of it too is just understanding, right. And again, this board can vote how they want, but understanding what you're getting X now.
Right.
It's not taking away that.
Yeah. So the way there's basically two ways ways that local governments can do tax increment financing, one through the MDHA Housing Authority under the Housing Authority Act, and the other under the Industrial Development Board Act. I'm not going to spend any time talking about the MDHA structure because you don't care. You're not on the MDHA board, and they're totally different. So there's no real comparisons. Under the IDB Act, you can do tax increment financing to support a list of projects that are enumerated in the IDB Act that are the kinds of things that IDBs traditionally can incentivize. You know, IDBs were originally created to support primarily manufacturing back in the 1950s, but the statute also permits office, retail, and affordable housing. So those are eligible projects that you can support. So our mixed-use project is an eligible project that you can support. What the IDB Act provides is that the increment can be used to support the project. And so the question is, what is the increment? What do you mean by that? And what the statute says is to determine the increment, the first thing you determine is the base tax amount, okay? And the base tax amount is the amount of taxes that were assessed in the year prior to the approval of the economic impact plan. So if we approve this today, it will be the 2021 taxes, okay? And out of that base tax...
Is that the 188 that you mentioned?
But it's actually, 188 is the net after you remove the dedicated taxes, and that was my next comment, okay? So the statute also says that in addition to getting the base tax, the local government has to receive the amount of taxes that are dedicated to debt service. So in Metro, we have, in the tax rate, we have a schools debt service and a general fund debt service, and then we have USD debt service in the urban services district. All those portions of the tax rate have to be deducted out before you can determine the increment. So you get the base tax, and then so you take the 2021 tax, you have to subtract the dedicated taxes out, or you're double counting. And so the TIF Uniformity Act says you have to deduct that. That's the 188 number for 2021 is the net of it's the base tax minus the dedicated tax. So the dedicated tax is like 20% of the tax rate in Metro. So that amount goes to Metro with the dedicated tax. So again, the only thing that's really available to fund is new money. It's not anything that is currently going to Metro. And in addition, the new money, you already are taking out the dedicated tax, so you're getting part of the new money for debt service. And then Metro's council adopted a policy several years ago that said that only 75% of the increment was available. So on top of that, after you get the base tax, the dedicated tax out, then you've got an increment number, and only 75% of that is available to be used for incentives. So that's what we're doing here. We're using the available 75%. So Metro's getting more money from this project from the very first day. It's not like they're not getting anything. They're getting more money. They're getting the 25%. And then as these TIF loans are paid off, that money then goes immediately to Metro. After the TIF money gets paid, after the TIF loan gets paid off, then that money then flows into Metro's coffers. So it's a situation where the increment is used, the new taxes are used, and that's one of the questions I get a lot of times. Well, couldn't we use that money for something else? Well,
you don't have it right
if this project doesn't develop, there is no money. You're not using money that, you're basically using the money from this project to provide a means to pay for things you think the community wants. And I think that's kind of why that's what you have to look at, and when you come to each of these projects is, are you really getting something the community wants? I think in this case, with all the work that Nancy has done for the last several years, there's no question that that's an easy answer. They definitely want just the kind of things that we're providing, the parks and greenways component, the community space. All of those things are just the kinds of things that a typical developer, like Tyler said, we just build a a bunch of office or retail or multifamily, and we wouldn't do any of this if we were a normal developer. So that's what you're getting is really, you're using that incremental money to pay for the project. And that's kind of how we see this being appropriate for an economic impact plan. So let's talk about an economic impact plan. What is an economic impact plan? Well, the statute says that before you can do a tax increment deal, you have to approve an economic impact plan. And that plan has to identify the project that's gonna be incentivized. It defines the property that is gonna be the basis for the incremental taxes, and it talks about the benefits to the community for that will result from the development of the project. Well, this property we're only using the increment on the Madison Square Shopping Center property today. We're not using other properties, which under the statute, you can do that if properties surrounding the project are going to be benefited. Which typically they are. You can use those properties, but it sometimes creates some neighborhood problems, so we're not proposing it. The other problem is it's also hard to finance on neighboring properties because no one really knows when they're going to redevelop and create any new increment. So the lenders don't give you a whole lot of credit for undeveloped property that may or may not develop in the next few years. So we're focused just on this one property. We're focused on this project, and we've set out then how the allocation of the increment will be done for this project. And again, we've got about, I think it's $37 million in cost that we anticipate for public infrastructure, demolition, and site preparation, and that will be done in 3 phases. So we will come to you each time the phase is done and say, okay, here's what we did in phase 1. We then would ask you to approve a TIF loan to reimburse for that. So that's how the structure, the process will be. So as Nigel mentioned earlier, we're going to be seeing you pretty often in the future, but I think with good news, because we're not going to be here unless we've got a phase of the project completed, and you can see what we've done.
And you go ahead, Mark.
Okay.
You go ahead.
In these redevelopment districts, typically, as you mentioned, is for infrastructure only, nothing vertical. But you mentioned you wanted a special use. There was something in particular you wanted.
Yeah. So typically, under the IDB Act, you can only use the increment for public infrastructure unless you go to the state and get the state to approve using it for something else. Okay. So, for example, here we're asking them to use it to clear the site, okay, remove the existing buildings and prepare the site for development. We're not doing any vertical construction. Yeah, it's demo and site prep. That's okay. But that is not public infrastructure,
right.
So that means we have to go to the site. Nigel mentioned the Oracle deal, which was a prior deal that this board approved. In Oracle, we ask for the ability to use the increment to help with cleaning up an old city dump that's on part of that site. That's not public infrastructure either, even though it's cleaning up. It's cleaning up something. It's good, but it's not. It doesn't meet the definition of public infrastructure.
So you have to go to the same process.
We went to the state and got approval to use that money for landfill cleanup.
The only difference in this case is it's not that; it's to demolish the building.
It's demolishing the buildings.
Are you getting state incentives?
No, we are not. We are not. We're just local.
So,
and state doesn't really have a program that fits mixed use. Theirs is more developed. I mean, they're looking more at, they're looking more at job creation, than manufacturing and those kind of things. They have a hard time incentivizing most mixed use projects. We've not found a path forward with them on that.
did you have a question?
A couple of questions. You mentioned that typically they're 20 years, or doing 30 years for this one. Why is it longer?
Just because we're not sure that we can pay it off in 20.
Okay.
I mean, that's the real concern, is that we're the increment is because of the deducts for the dedicated
When you
tax.
only do 75%.
And only
instead of
taking out
100,
75% of the increment, that's really why. And so we really think we could get it paid off in close to 20, maybe 22 or 23 if everything worked right, but
It's all projections, so you don't know.
so but that's why. It's just to be protected.
Okay. My other question, you mentioned the project agreement, and that's what's going to address the terms, particularly related to affordable housing. Who negotiates that agreement, specifically the terms that will be tied to the affordable housing
So
unit?
typically we prepare that and we give that to the lawyer for the IDB, who then,
So if there are terms we wanted to see, we would need to
Yes.
share that with our legal counsel. Okay. Thank
right, exactly. That's exactly right. But yes, that's the norm, is that, that would be something the board members would have input on, and then we would bring, when y'all are comfortable with it, we would bring it to the board for approval.
Great.
So once we have it drafted, Macy we certainly would have Macy review it. We can get out to the board members and then solicit feedback too.
And I mean, it's not like we're in a huge rush to have that approved. So if that takes a couple of meetings to work through with y'all, that'll work.
And probably I would say, and again, we're kind of stepping ahead of ourselves, but if we went through the whole process, probably what I would say, again, as kind of we did here, is we'll get the project agreement out to the board to review after legal's reviewed it, and then have you come talk to us about it at a meeting. That way we can have open dialogue as a board together.
That's perfect.
Have some comments and then come back. It seems like, especially for these more complicated items, instead of trying to cram everything into one meeting, give people time to reflect, think, etc.
Most of the deals I work on, we don't have the luxury of that time. But we have a little more flexibility on this one than we did on those. The real critical part here is getting the council approval in play. And that's kind of why we've been pushing this. Nancy has been pushing us to get this thing.
That's correct. The community, this is something this is the Christmas present to the community. And I've got 8 months left on the council to make sure that the wheels are still turning. And because of the redistricting, what we now know is District 8, where this is absorbed by Districts 3, 9, 5, and 7, and District 8 goes away. And so by May, when people are running for office and they're talking about District 8, they'll be talking about Antioch. It just gets confusing. So some of the, come on, y'all, let's do this thing, is coming from that particular calendar.
Thank you for that. So question on just to clarify, so you get through the process, phase 1 gets built, you come back to us, this board, and really the reason you come into us is basically because the tax increment financing, the potential future tax revenues are what's going to be used to help repay back the developer to continue. But just to clarify, there's no recourse to the board if the incremental tax revenue comes in lower than the projections and it's lower than the loan amount. That's on the developer to handle with their.
So the way we've structured this is we've got we will have 3 different loan amounts, and if the increment doesn't support paying back the cost plus the interest over the 30-year term, then the developer just doesn't get fully reimbursed. That's the way it works. If, on the other hand, the increment comes in faster, then the developer gets paid off quicker. The interest cost is less, and it flows more taxes to Metro quicker. So it kind of is it's a balancing process, but yes, at the end of the day,
there's no recourse.
There's a cap, and that's the maximum amount, and each annual payment, if it's not enough to support the debt, then that's an issue that the lender has. It's not something that they have no recourse to the board. The only recourse is to the increment, and that's that's the way these deals are structured. I appreciate you bringing that up. I meant to mention that earlier, but that's right, Nigel. There is no recourse. There's nothing else. No one. It's kind of like my situation with MDHA. We said, well, that's fine, but you have no recourse to MDHA, so why are you sending us these letters? And the lender said, well, we just have to. Okay. And our computer generates them, and we can't get them to stop. So, okay, fine. Well, we're ignoring them because, we've given you everything we have. So, I think that's the typical situation in these deals. The lenders understand that, and they're very careful about making sure they think the increment numbers are good.
And you had to hire a third party, correct, to look at to complete the projections and the analysis, correct? That specializes in this.
Yes, we did.
Okay,
That's right.
that's in the package.
That's
we
one of the
received.
the firm in Texas that does that. That's correct.
One other question: does anyone know when the time is up on the redevelopment district for that area?
There's not one right here. There is not a redevelopment district.
Okay.
Not in Madison.
We don't have a lot of suburban redevelopment districts. That's something we brought up for many years.
Ordo, I think, is the only one that's not really downtown.
Ordo, yeah.
And with all the focus on downtown, it's important that the community in Madison realizes this opportunity. It provides that equity in making sure that the Renaissance is possible.
So let me follow up a little bit and expand on it if you'll give me a chance. I might be able to help a little bit. One of the differences between the way MDHA does their plans and their programs versus the way the IDB acts, typically they look at an area and determine if there's blight in that area, and then they adopt a plan to cure blight in that area, okay? And so that's the first step in their process, is they adopt a redevelopment plan, and then they go in and they have strategies to cure the blighted properties through redevelopment, and they can use tax increment financing to help do that. The IDB's plan doesn't look at blight. It just looks at, is this a project that we're entitled under the Act to incentivize? And if it is, that's the only question is it a project? And then, does it meet the criteria that we think we ought to apply to utilize or provide an incentive? But it's a different focus. Theirs is more of a planning regional area focus, whereas the IDB's is a project-by-project focus.
Thanks for explaining that, because I'm so used to looking at MDHA maps and all their redistricting areas, Jefferson Street, all those. I'm thinking, okay, all the TIF is tied to it, not realizing that TIF could be used in any other area. Of course, I'm kind of new to the IDB, so.
Well, and that's, the MDHA, the Housing Authority Act has allowed the use of TIF since probably the maybe 1960s or 70s. The IDB Act was amended in the 80s to let IDB do TIFs. So it's a relatively recent phenomenon for the IDB to do TIFs versus MDHA. And in fact, this will be the third that this board will have approved. Nigel mentioned Bellevue Mall. That was the first. Oracle was the second, and this will be the third.
Get really confused. Like, well, MDHA done quite a bit of them. I know a bunch of TIF projects.
Oh, yeah, no, but
I'm trying to put it together in my mind.
It's a different process. It's a different structure. It's a different approval process. And that's a really good question, because there really is a different kind of philosophy with the MDHA, where it's just more redeveloping an area versus here it's just about a single project.
They have timelines on theirs too when it goes away. So thanks for clearing out, because I would have been foggy for the rest of the day.
I'm always glad to try to clear things up.
So, and I'll just share with me, I've certainly reached out to a couple council members. This board is independent. We vote how we want, but certainly just to get feedback. And I was on the board several years ago when Metro completed the tax increment financing study committee report. One of the things, some of the feedback that I've heard It's not necessarily specifically on this project specifically, but more in general about the fact, and some of this comes back from the committee, that there were council members on the committee, but also various individuals from various occupations in the community, was that, Metro does not have a formal process or strategy plan or policy, I should say, around tax increment financing. That's number one. Number two, some of the feedback that I've received and what I've just in research and talking to various individuals is the concern that that's great. Yep, this property is collecting X and you've got this potential future, but because there's so much uncertainty around what the actual number will be because it's projections, there's certainly been those, to me, even in the councils, that have expressed concern about, in general, until we have a policy in place, we're really pledging a lot of future property tax dollars. We're doing stuff that impacts Nashville 20, 25, 30 years from now, and there's a lot that can happen and change. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously, you're super passionate about it, and you're on the council. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that those comments come from a very genuine place. The council is a 39-member body, and I think 2 or 3 folks do have that opinion. I think that the main thing to keep in mind, we've just approved as a Metro Council the formation of the committee. Berkeley Allen sponsored that and has been underway with that. She has support of this plan and finds it and agrees with me that it is something that we can use as a plum to be able to say, here's what we're looking for. This is what works. This is how the community was engaged. These are the different things that we're looking for. The idea that there are 3 phases so that it keeps being reevaluated as to its success allows it the opportunity to grow along with the city. There's no question in my mind that it would be fantastic to have some sort of policy in place, but it is at the whim of the mayor, right? So whether it's this mayor, if he's reelected, another mayor, what that policy is would need to be set forth, and I think that policy is going to be informed by the committee that's being created and by the success of what the IDB has been able to prove works, and this allows a tool for that to happen. There was someone who was concerned, it's like, oh, this is going to open the floodgates and you guys are going to get all these TIF requests. And it's like, if you could find another situation that has had the kind of community support on a transit corridor by a single owner that's willing to do all this, then yeah, bring it, bring it. And so I think that there are council members, and as the redistricting happens, that will look for opportunities, and we want them to look for them. And I think the new TIF formulation committee will benefit by having a success story to be able to say, this is what we're looking for. And so I'm very proud in my service to the city to have created something that is a good tool for that use.
Well, thank you for that. And probably a larger discussion in general, too, is just also not just for the other concern is measuring, how do you really measure the true impact of these long term? And that's a question that has been asked also, because obviously economic deals come to this board. Not so we don't get obviously as many new deals as we did several years ago, but certainly even when it comes to at our October meeting, you were there, this board approved the annual cash incentive grants that were approved years ago for HCA and Phillips, and still questions on, well, how do you really measure the true impact of $500, per grant incentive per employee for a deal that lasts 5 or 7 years, but I appreciate your response to that. Lastly, for me, and I'll turn it over to the board for any other questions. When you brought up the Oracle deal, this is a little bit different from the Oracle deal, correct? One, just the major difference is that under Oracle, they're not coming back to this board in phases, trying to get loans in phases. That's the biggest difference, correct?
Project agreement in the Oracle deal already approves the infrastructure that will be constructed by Oracle, and they're not doing any loan structure to get those reimbursements. They're just going to get repaid as
From the incremental
comes in.
Okay.
So they're not asking for, when the phase is over, to get paid back in full. They're just going to get paid back over time. So a little bit different structure.
That's the major difference.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So some of us were, not everyone was on the board then, but quite a few of us were on the board last year when that got approved and subsequently went through Metro Council. At the time, at that meeting, Mayor Cooper came and actually spoke, and obviously it was different. We were meeting virtually, but Mayor Cooper, spoke during the meeting in support. Just curious, what kind of conversations have you had with Mayor Cooper? And again, this board can vote how they want, but I think it would be, important to just.
I don't know where LaTanya went, but I know that she's provided a letter from the mayor to read today, so.
She was provided a.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen that, so that's why I was.
Okay, yeah,
asking.
I don't know if somebody could go find.
That's okay, I think.
Yeah, you don't have to go. You don't have to go find her.
Support letter for the project or something.
Yeah, because they, somebody took the time to craft it.
So it's in support of the project?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've been working with Mayor Cooper on this from day one. And I think one of the things that he was particularly excited about personally was the Greenway connections and his commitment to making sure that there's opportunity.
I was going to say, I believe we had our first meeting with him very shortly after he was elected.
That's correct.
And that was before this was fully formed, but just to understand his commitment, and we've met with him and his office.
Well, even when he was a council member, I know that Pridemore and Davidson, I talked to everybody about the opportunity that this corridor provided.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, there's support from the mayor's.
Okay. And again, this board, we're independent, but I
It's
want
nice
to
to
make
know,
sure
yeah. There's no,
all the
you
information.
want to know if he's against it more than if you want to know if he's for it.
So, couple quick reminder highlights. Just on numbers. When we talk about economic impact, I put this together. So this is in the summary of agenda. Over $600 million investment in the project, anticipated to create 545 average annual direct construction jobs on site, 732 average annual total jobs in the local area, annual total labor income of over almost $609 million in the local area over the 10-year construction period. And then upon completion, the project is expected to create 845 direct permanent jobs on site and annual total labor income of over $185 million, anticipated to produce approximately $245 million in new property tax revenue over the course of the 30-year payback period. So those are some numbers as far as, and again, projections. Are there any numbers besides those you feel important?
No, I think those are really important. I think, obviously, as we said before, without this project, without this incentive, this project's not going to go forward. So it really is critical that we recognize that all the benefits that you just mentioned, and I apologize, Nigel, I had those on my list of things to mention and I forgot, so I appreciate you reading that list for me. But yeah, I think those are critically important. I think, as we've said, this is a project that's got multiple benefits for the community. I think, as Nancy has said, it's a community-driven project more so than any of the other any of the other projects you've seen. So I think that's a differentiator from the standpoint of this is something that has not just been thought of by a developer and brought in here to say, hey, do my nice project. It's been one that the community's been working for a long time, and having the council member who's been involved in it here to verify that and for those of you who were here last time, to see how emotionally attached she is to the project, I think shows that this. No, it is healthy. I think it's a really good sign. It shows that this is not just your typical project. This is, as she mentions, kind of a transformative project for the community.
So Chairman, can we call for the vote? I mean, are we looking at that?
I'm happy to shut up and let that out.
Yeah.
Can I just make a comment real
Sure.
quick? I think as we're talking about like our role in councils and all that, I think it's important to remember as this board, we are not adopting a TIF. We're adopting an economic impact plan, which will be approved by council. And so our role is to hold the hearing and to adopt that plan and to answer whatever questions we have so that council has the benefit of that information when making the decision. So I just want to clarify that because I think sometimes it gets confusing when we talk about whether a TIF is being approved by this board. That's not what we're doing today.
So, and that's true, but keep in mind, obviously, that because they would be today, because we're approving this economic impact plan, we are essentially, if the process moves forward, we're agreeing that we would do the setup that they proposed, which is coming back to us, and we would issue the TIF loans. Obviously, we would get our issuers council involved as well on that, should we get there. So, Macy, from a legal perspective, anything related to the economic impact on your end that you feel you need to?
All my concerns have been addressed.
Okay.
That's good. I've tried my best to fix all the issues here.
Any questions?
Which were good questions, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Macy. Thank you for your opinion. Any questions or comments here to my left?
Just a comment. I mean,
Sure.
I'm very supportive of this. I did do my homework and went to Pinky Ring Pizza and
That's great, isn't it?
hadn't been up there in a while and checked it out. Yeah, and as Metro, we've put a lot into that Madison Station Boulevard, and I think this is just a nice, kickstart of it. When you go up there, it's beautiful, but it just kind of needs that next. You're looking for that next thing, and I think this is a great use of that. We talked about kind of that macro conversation for like larger TIF and that sort of thing, and we've batted that around for years. I mean, I was, in the other direction when we didn't approve the Donaldson TOD, that was one of those larger conversations. Which was the same conversation we were sort of having just now of, you're sucking that money out or whatever, but that was a much larger, obviously, kind of like the MDHA zones. I was in favor of doing it, but that was the argument against was that sort of thing. These are great because it's just, we're talking about a couple parcels, and yes, I don't think it opens any floodgates or anything. It has to be a very special project, something that the community has come on board with, and
Sure.
certainly has certain parameters. So, and to me, this is the kind of thing we should be doing, and we're getting some affordable housing, we're getting amenities, and there's a lot of wins for the community. So I'm in favor, and hope we vote yes.
All right. Any other questions or comments here tomorrow?
I'll just give a comment. Yeah, I'm really appreciative of this project. That's especially the affordable units, and I understand the developer and your challenges. My organization, we don't do TIF, but we do community investment tax credit. So I understand dealing with the banks, and if it wasn't for that injection of cash, that credit from the banks, getting that 4% under prime, a lot of our projects wouldn't happen. So I understand how important that is. And for what you're bringing to the table, what you're bringing for the community, I think is well worth the approval to make this project go forward. So I'm behind it, and I'm ready to vote.
I mean, you said well worth it like 3 times. I think we know how you feel about the project.
I just want to make sure I'm clear.
All right, so
If I may,
no, go ahead.
Tequila asked me to make sure that her voice was heard. If you could communicate what she had said to you, then that would be great. Did she talk to you?
I did not.
Okay,
We did not talk. I was in. We were not able to talk. I was traveling yesterday.
Okay, that's fine.
Unfortunately.
That's fine.
You wouldn't be deliberating.
I just promised.
That's right, and we shouldn't deliberate business on the board anyway. That's correct. That's correct.
That's a good point. Okay, and I know I've been in sales long enough to shut up when it looks like you got to win, but
But I do remember everybody's feedback, from October as
There you go.
well, which is on
She
video.
was very positive.
yeah, I did promise her that you guys would know that she was unable to come because of a conflict with a meeting with the Democratic
Sure.
Party, but that she was behind this 100%. So.
Well, thank you for that. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the economic impact plan for Madison Station.
I make a motion.
All right, Board Member Wright, do we have a second? Properly second. Any discussion? All those in favor for approval say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You got what you wanted. At least step one. Thank you.
And we'll be back.
Are you in leadership, Nashville?
Well, we'll move right along. I figured today would be a longer meeting, so I appreciate everyone's patience, but really great, robust discussion today, so thank you, everyone. Couple items moving
They
on.
can they can leave if they need to leave. Yeah. Yeah, you guys leave. This is just.
Unless you want to watch, get some popcorn.
To dance out in the hallway, so we need to let her.
I've got Monday and Tuesday to get
Maybe
to
I'll
that.
grab the voucher.
I've got Monday and Tuesday.
There's a parking lot.
I was able to make it.
You enjoyed it? Yeah, 2003, but I was at the opening retreat, that's right. So you enjoyed it?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for being here, man. Yeah.
Thank you for this too.
Market bounce. No, if you do. Hey, Tyler, market bounce.
We can have it.
Oh.
Thank you so much. I need a party voucher. We
All right, we'll give a couple minutes as they pack up here.
Otherwise, we have to turn them in reimbursement from the board.
So we saw that.
I think she's got that.
That's Kim's, I think Kim's stuff. Is that Kim's?
Okay.
I think it might be what it's
It looks like a Metro laptop.
Oh, okay.
Metro laptop.
I don't think we got reimbursed for that.
These are yours.
Yes.
What do you think now?
25. Was it 25?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Slipping 925.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
All right, thank you. All right, so moving on to old business. If everybody's okay, I'm gonna do this a little bit out of order under item number 5, old business. Obviously, as we discussed at the last board meeting, we have a board member Forrester decided to resign from the board. As I stated at the last meeting, really thanked her for the service, as I thank everyone here, because this is volunteer and a huge commitment. With that, there was an election at the council, at last week's council meeting, to fill that vacancy. So the new board member to fill in for former board member Forrester's remaining term is Joshua Haston. He's actually sitting here today. Officially, the Metro clerk has not sent that information over to Latanya, but we certainly anticipate that will happen, and so Josh will be at our next meeting as a board member. But that happened at last Tuesday's council meeting.
Welcome and spirit.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you. And obviously, Joshua came and spoke to us before he was a board member at the affordable housing meeting that we had in August, and put together a very nice PowerPoint for us as well, so thank you. All right, so with that, obviously, also we need to, board member Forrester was the secretary. I want to thank Christina as well, stepping in as the vice secretary, especially for the secretary roles and the chair roles. There's always stuff that has to get signed sometimes in between meetings, and you've got to go meet somebody to get something signed. So thank you, and thank you to the other officers currently on the board. So thank you to Vice Chair Siegel as well. Obviously, I'll serve as chair, and thank you again, Christina, as well, for serving. So with that, it was time for us to do elections for new officers anyway, so we need secretary vice secretary, vice chair, and chair. And typically, so it'll be and we'll do this annually. So I guess we'll start with vice chair first.
Well,
I'm sorry, vice secretary.
I think we start with chair.
You want to start
I
with
think
chair?
we start with chair, and then the chair runs the elections for the next, is how we typically do it.
Okay, let's start with chair. Any nominations for chair?
I nominate.
I don't know if I should be doing it then, but
Second.
why don't you do this?
I think I had to open it up,
Why don't
right?
you-
For chair.
If he nominated,
If I remember the rules of order, but
Okay.
Metro Legal can certainly
Why don't
jump
you run it?
in if we're wrong about this. But are there any nominations for chair?
I nominate Nashville.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
do I accept?
I move that we accept the acclamation.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now you can run the rest of it.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chair. I appreciate it. All right. Any nominations for Vice Chair?
I'll nominate Quinn or you wanted to serve again, or?
I'm happy to serve.
I second.
I second it.
All right. All those.
Make a motion that we approve by acclamation.
Okay. There we go.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you again for serving, Vice Chair Siegel. All right. Next, I guess we'll go to Secretary. Any nominations for
I
Secretary?
would like to remove myself from secretary because I'm serving my last year, so I think I have one more year left, so just to get someone else more involved.
I was going to nominate you, but
I know, that's why I said it.
what is the role of the secretary?
Okay, so
That's a good question.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, because I never want to be secretary on boards because
It's not, but there are a lot of, so you sign everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of signings.
Okay.
I mean, we typically, so the secretary does not, it's not, I guess, like you would think of in some boards, we have to do all the minutes. We have a Joy from Metro that handles the minutes, but the secretary does have to, as does the chair, sign. I probably have to sign as chair a couple more items, but like the minutes, and there's other documents that require both the chair and secretary. So
that makes a big difference.
it's not tons, but there's times where, we've got to get stuff signed outside of at the meeting.
Right, but there's no actually sitting here typing up meetings.
No, you don't have to do that. So would you be open to, I'm just asking, if someone wants to nominate you, I guess your term is up at the end of 2023.
At the end, or I thought it was mid?
Normally,
Yeah, it's in the fall.
Okay, I thought it was going to be earlier. I know I asked.
Yeah, it's in the
But we
fall.
won't do that to you.
But if you don't want to do it, don't.
Well, I just figured I didn't.
Well, we'll see if there's any other
It's like for
nominations.
another 6 months.
Well, Board Member Wright seems interested.
I second that.
term expires in
I'm going to
September.
nominate Board
Okay, I thought
Member
it was
Wright.
earlier.
I knew I should have said anything.
It's all term, same thing, right?
If interested.
Former board member.
Well, since it's just signing documents, that's fine. I can do
September
that.
2023 also, correct? Okay, thank you. It's up to you.
Here's a nomination. Go ahead.
I put a nomination.
And I
Board
second
Member
that.
Wright. But
okay.
if interested.
Since it's just signing, then I'll find it.
All right. Well, you get started today, potentially.
Oh, my goodness.
Do we have any other nominations?
I move that we accept Mark Wright as Vice Secretary by acclamation.
No, secretary.
Secretary.
Yeah.
So,
Second.
secretary. Okay. All right, we have all the motion on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so Secretary Mark, all right, thank you very much.
I should.
Hang out after the meeting. I think Macy has a stack of documents for us.
I don't have anything.
I'm joking. All right, so we need Vice Secretary also.
Sarah.
Do we have any nominations for?
It's not hard.
I mean, you're
do it.
basically
If you're not
filling in as the
interested, I'll do it.
secretary.
Yeah, I can do it. I'll be your vice.
Well, because you good, yes.
All right, so we have a motion, a nomination, second. All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor of Sarah as Vice Secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Thank you for your service, willingness to move in. Thank you.
Tequila. She's not. Tequila with it.
All right, and
Go ahead. What's your next? Because I have a comment on something.
go ahead.
So as, and want to put it in the minutes is, as a board member, we're committed to coming, trying to get here 10 minutes early. We understand parking in every situation. It's very hard to come when we don't have a quorum and we have to sit here and wait 30 minutes. So I think out of with each other, and it's communicated to all the new board members and previous board members that attendance, we need to look at an attendance policy, because if we're going to hold our breath for quorum, it's wasting my time waiting, so let's communicate. I love that we're getting the minutes out early in the agenda, reminding us where to be and stuff. So I just, the other thing, be prepared when we're coming in here. And, sometimes I think we ask, I felt that they repeated themselves about 100 times, but I loved it. I got a lot out of it. But I think being more efficient will give our credibility to our board, that we don't have 3-hour meetings, so that we are more prestige. I think leadership.
Well, it's only an hour and a half today, though. But I hear you. I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah. I think that we have run these meetings in an efficient way in the past, and it would be great if we could really focus on that.
Let's look at efficiency and questions and if they're answered, because I think that gives us the credibility of a board to be efficient and thoughtful of everything. So I just wanted to put that out there because I just think it's important to have that if I'm going to serve with my respectful time as well as yours. So
Appreciate your comments. Thank you. All right. Anything else on that? All right. So moving on to...
If we're moving locations, it was bolded in that email. I went back,
Yes.
but I fell for it this time. And then somebody else did it a couple times ago. I remember went to the... that's why I was late, for example, this morning, because I didn't realize if we move, I don't know, maybe it should just be like a text blast too or something. It's not going to be it. Yeah, because if it's buried in those emails, I'm like,
all right, we can...
I usually just assume we're going to be... It's like in my permanent calendar thing that's over there. But it's totally my bad. I didn't notice it this morning.
May I suggest that we get a email notice invite changes, because that hasn't been consistent.
So a couple of things, and this goes into the next item. So again, as we've shared before, this is where we used to meet here at Metro. One of the reasons we moved was challenge. It's a little bit harder to find parking. Obviously, at Sony West, it's a little bit more accessible. Parking is better, but certainly if we have people from the public come as well. So moving forward for 2023, Sony West will still be our main location place, but obviously due to scheduling, sometimes we can't use that facility.
That's fine.
So as we get the schedule out for next year, we'll get calendar invites with the locations. And again, the majority of our meetings next year will still be at Sony West.
And also, if we are here, will we be able to get larger committee rooms? Because if we had guests...
It's usually like this is all we have.
Wow, there's no room for guests.
Yeah, we'll look at that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so I would say there's probably, from the schedule, there's probably maybe three or four meetings next year that we wouldn't be able to meet at Sony West.
Okay.
One of those during the elections, obviously. So with that, meeting dates, again, just a reminder, we discussed this at last month's meeting. Moving forward for 2023, our meetings will be on the second Wednesday of the month. Second Wednesday. And that was really a part of scheduling with Sony West, but also if we have bond-related matters, our issuers council is able to come to those meetings and answer any questions that we may have.
Okay.
Is this the second Wednesday?
This was the second Wednesday just because of Christmas holidays next week. All right. Couple quick updates. Be very brief on these. One, Alliance Bernstein reached out to me since the last meeting. They are starting the clock on the cash grant that this board approved several years ago. So that is a 7-year cash grant deal, $500 per employee. So they are starting the clock January 1st, 2023. So they would in turn come to our board for the first time in 2024 for approval of the annual payout. Again, the grant's already been approved. This would be the annual payout. And again, that's estimated to be around $3.7 million incentive grant over 7 years. But they wanted me to let the board know, and they're very excited about starting that clock, obviously. Second item, We Go North Nashville. I was able to go to the groundbreaking ceremony for We Go last month. It was really neat. This board passed a pilot deal for that facility a couple of years ago in North Nashville, so we've talked about it. I just got some pictures from We Go that I will ask LaTanya to send out to the board from the groundbreaking ceremony that took place in November, and I asked We Go to certainly invite the board members to the grand opening ceremony when they have it. They anticipate that facility will be opening in 2024. So anyway, that's all I have. If there's nothing else, we'll move to adjourn the meeting.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Can we use those too? Yeah. Okay. So park.
Oh, yeah, the park passes, yeah. Sweet.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.